Hey everybody, and welcome to Twilight Cooking. My name is Kelsey Detman, as you know me from making the Twilight documentary. And as we know, Bella is a cook, and she always cooks for Charlie, and even Edward cooks later on in the series. And I thought that's such an interesting idea, like these recipes in the story, and it would be awesome if the fans could know how to make these things. We're starting in Twilight. I'm going to start from Twilight and work all the way through Breaking Dawn, through all the recipes of things that are mentioned that she makes, and maybe a few extra ones that I think Bella might make along the way. We're going to start on page 33. She decides to make steak and potatoes. Now, she bakes potatoes and broils a steak. So now we're going to make our marinade. So I'm going to marinate my steak in this little bowl right here. I have half a cup of soy sauce, and then 4 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce, and then about 1 teaspoon of crushed garlic. I'm gonna whisk that up really quick because that way the garlic will break itself up, but this just helps it out. I'm using New York steak with the bone in. You just soak it in, you make sure you flip it over, let it get all in the goodness, and then you cover this up with plastic and put it in the refrigerator. So now that we're letting our steaks marinate, we're going to start the potatoes. Now that you've washed your potato, you're going to take it and you're going to take a bowl, and I filled this with oil, and you're just going to put it in here and you're going to coat it in the oil, okay? Now I know Bella in the story covers hers with tinfoil. Now the thing about that is that when you cover it with tinfoil, it actually makes a steamed potato instead of a baked potato, and then the outside's not crispy, so we're going to do it the better way. And now you take a fork or a sharp knife and you want to stab holes all over your potato. Otherwise it's going to explode, and that's also not a good thing. You can choose to wrap this with tinfoil if you want to, and you bake everything the same way. But after you oil it and then after we put some salt on it, you're just going to stick it in tinfoil. Alright, I think that's pretty good. So now what you're going to do is I have some salt here that I'm just going to sprinkle this with salt. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now we're going to take it to the oven. I have a baking sheet here. I'm going to put that underneath the rack below it, so that way, because I'm going to put the potato directly on the rack, and that way it'll catch all the drippings and all the oil and stuff, and it won't get all messy in the oven. And I'm going to take the potato, I'm going to put it right on the rack. Now the potato is just about done, the alarm's going to go off, and now the way that you can tell whether or not it's done is there's a few ways. If you have a meat thermometer or some sort of internal like thermometer you can use, it'll be about 210 degrees Fahrenheit. You can also take a fork and just feel if the potato kind of gives way. Oh, there's a timer saying that they're done. Okay. And now that our potato is done, I'm going to work on the steaks. The first thing you need to do is you're going to set your oven to broil. Some ovens have a low broil and a high broil. For this you want to use high broil, but you need to be careful because it's really hot. Be sure to ask permission from your parents if you're cooking in your kitchen and trying to do something like this. See if they'll cook with you, or at least tell them you're trying to broil a steak, okay? Now, you're supposed to use a broiler pan, which is, it looks either kind of like a cookie sheet or some sort of oven pan with grates on it. I don't have a broiler pan, which would make this a lot easier, but instead, I'm just going to use a cookie sheet with tinfoil on it. It works just as well. Right now, it's in the oven, preheating as well, so the pan's real hot when we stick our steaks on it. In Twilight, Bella loses track of time while the potatoes are in the oven, so she has to hurry up and throw the steaks on the broiler. She let her steaks marinate for about an hour. Now, that's the least amount of time you should let your steaks marinate. If you have time, let it marinate a little longer. So now what we're going to do is we are going to put our steak onto our broiler pan, or in my case, the pan with tinfoil. Ooh, it's hot. Be sure to have a window open as you're cooking this because it's going to get really, really hot in your house. Or if you have the fan on, you can turn that on above your oven. So I'm just going to stick this in. That's good. You want to hear a nice sizzle when you stick your steak on there. Alright, now we're going to flip the pan in the oven. It's been about 7 minutes. I don't have spring-loaded tongs, which would be much easier, or any sort of tongs, so I'm going to do this college style. And if I can do it this way, then anybody can make this. Okay. Yes, that's correct. I'm using a bottle opener and a knife. That looks awesome. So you want to flip it onto a new part of the pan and let it cook for another 7 minutes. Instead of moving the camera over and over, I'm just going to do this. We're ready to take it out of the oven. So here we go. Oh yeah. Doesn't that look awesome? Okay, it's really hot. It's cooked about medium well, which is my favorite. Now, you probably want to let this drip a little bit. This is what the broiler pan is for, though, is that it'll allow all the drippings to go to the bottom of the pan and kind of let the fat cook itself off. But since I don't have that luxury, it's okay. We'll deal with all the fat and goodness. So, almost dropped it. We're going to let that rest for about 5 minutes while I go prepare a plate. Now it is time to enjoy my steak and potatoes. That's pretty very good. The steak is cooked just right. If you wanted a little more, less done, this is pretty done. Cook it for less time. Those taste so good. I'm gonna get some of that skin in there. It's nice and crunchy with the salt on it. That's good. I'm gonna grab all over my face. Well, thanks for joining me for the first episode ever of Twilight Cooking. Now, I'm gonna eat my steak, maybe read a little bit, and I will see you guys next time. Have fun, and I will talk to you later. Bye.